Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. And as you would have already seen that I have been trying to take up topics of social psychology that would be very relatable to every one of you as they are a part of our daily schedules. So today we are going to be speaking about how social influence affects our lives. Just to brush up your knowledge about what exactly is social influence and how does it affect our behavior. I'm going to be stating a little bit about what social influence is so that you can have a clear idea about how we are going to be proceeding in this particular video. Social influence comprises the ways in which individuals change their behavior to meet the demands of a social environment. It takes many forms and can be in the form of conformity, socialization, peer pressure at times, obedience, leadership, persuasion, sales and marketing, etc. All these are places wherein social influence, takes its form and comes into picture. Typically, social influence results from a specific action, command, or request, but people also alter their attitudes and behaviors many a times in response to what they perceive and what others might think or do. I do not have to talk a lot about this particular statement that I've just said above, that people do alter their attitudes and behaviors many a times uh, in response to how they perceive their environment. Because we all have been through this and we all do this unknowingly or knowingly in our day to day lives. Back in the year 1958, a Harvard psychologist, Herbert Kellman, identified three broad varieties of social influence. These are also certain terms that are quite misunderstood. So I would try to clear them up as well, along with stating them. So try to pay more close heed to this. The first one is compliance. So compliance is basically when people appear to agree with others but actually keep their dissenting opinions private. They just want to agree. For example, this usually occurs in workplaces wherein the workers, they try to comply and agree to their bosses, though they have other dissenting opinions, but they don't want to share it because they fear the boss or the head. So that's how it is. The second one is identification, is when people are influenced by someone who is liked and respected, such as a famous celebrity. I do not have to give an example to this because this is very, self explanatory. And the third one is internalization, is when people accept a belief or behavior and agree both publicly and privately. This is the best form of social influence, wherein you are wholeheartedly accepting certain things or beliefs or people, and wherein your mind and the body and like you are agreeing to it both physically and mentally, so it's all in harmony. Social psychologists like Morton Dutch and Harold Gerald describe two psychological needs that lead humans to conform to the expectation of others. Now, these two people took out a biological aspect of explaining social influence, and they defined two urges and two natural needs which forces us to do so. These include our need to be right. The first one is need to be right, informational social influence. And the second one is our need to be liked, right and liked. The liked need is called normative social influence. So the first one, informational influence, is an influence to accept information from another as evidence about reality. The first one is the informational influence, and which talks about accepting influences from another as an evidence from reality. Informational influence comes into play when people are uncertain, either because stimuli are intrinsically ambiguous or because there is social disagreement. Whereas in the case of normative social influence, that is our need to be liked, is an influence to conform to the positive expectations of others, so that people like us and they are more in favor of us. So that's why we do this. So these are two basic biological needs that help us to cope up with social influence. And basically, they're the driving force behind us complying to people. The right to need and the right to be liked and the right to be right. So that's how it is. Now, I would be jumping back to the topic of influence. I wanted to set a background about how influence exactly takes place. So, I guess I have done that, and now I'm going to be talking about what exactly is an influence and how does it affect our lives. Influence is defined as the capacity to have an effect on the character or behavior of someone or something or the effect itself. Every interaction, conversation, reaction, attitude, and action you have has the potential to influence other people. We may not be very conscious about it, but we are constantly influencing people all around us. There are four main types of influences. You would want to stay away from the first you would want to stay away from the first two types while leaning towards the second type of the influence that I'm going to be stating right now. So let's just discuss them without any delays. The first one is a negative influence. The first type of negative influence is the most damaging one. Those who have this type of influence tend to focus on their authority, power, or title. They are often egocentric and prideful. So, these are the few characteristics of people with a negative influence. These are the leaders who have a hard time getting people to follow, respect, or listen to them. Their influence leaves the team or organization impacted in a negative or a bad way, mainly through the poor results the team produces as a result of the negative influence. So, do whatever you can to basically avoid having this type of influence into your lives. We move on to the second influence, that is a neutral influence. The actions and attitudes of this type of influence tends to neither add nor take away from what those around are doing. So, as the name suggests, since it is a neutral influence, it will not either add nor it will take away something from what people around us are doing. If a person with this type of influence was in a group of people, they would have not necessarily do anything that would cause them to stand out or be as a leader. They don't proactively lead, help, or take charge. These are again some of the characteristics of people with a neutral influence. These are the people with the position or title but who do not maximize it in a way that advances the team or the organization. Remember, I said that you will want to stay away from the first two types of influences. So let's now see the type of influence you should strive to have. The third one and the most obvious one is the positive influence. A leader with this type of influence adds value and leaves the people you come in contact with better off as a result of the leader's actions and attitudes. They actively lead, build relationships with others, and are present, all in the attempts to inspire, coach, and lead people to producing better results. They want to make a positive impact in the lives of those who they lead, helping them to be successful in all areas of their life. Positive influence requires a high level of intentionality, energy, and effort, but the results will be that everyone will be and do better because you are the leader and you are the positive influencer. Now, coming to the fourth influence, that is one of the most important influences in a person's life, and that's the life-changing influence. This is the pinnacle and most valuable type of influence. There are few people who possess or reach this level of influence. It takes years or decades of leading well and with positive influence to obtain life-changing influence. A few examples of life-changing influences include Jesus Christ, Mother Teresa, and Abraham Lincoln. Yes. Life-changing influences is about impacting someone in a way where life is permanently changed as a result of what you have done and said, as the name rightly says. Those who influence in this way remain positively impacted long after you have left the team or organization. If you are, influencing someone in a life changing way, so even after you depart from their lives or from a particular team that you had been earlier, your influence will forever stay with them. It requires investing your entire life and all of your attention to serve and help other people to win and become successful in life and at work. It's about laying down your own wants and needs to add value to other people. The sacrifice is worth the return because you will have loyal and dedicated people who are willing to do anything for you. So the result of being a life-changing influencer in someone's life is, getting their loyalty back and their, their selflessness to yourself. So you get that back in return as your gift for being a life-changing influencer in someone's life. I really hope that now after this video today we are able to differentiate between some otherwise wrongly used terms as I mentioned earlier and have a clear idea of how influences determine our behavior. With this, I would want to end today's video and would love to see you all in my next one. Till then, see ya.